Today is all about the loofahs.
Welcome to Our Life Simplified. I'm Laura, and Todd is my husband. On this channel, we share our journey of transforming our 5-acre property into a Tuscany-inspired mini homestead and peaceful outdoor oasis. From DIY builds and garden projects, to raising chickens and culinary adventures, including cooking, baking, and grilling, and everything in between. We are creating a space that's both functional and charming, one intentional step at a time. Welcome to our home.
Hello, and how is everyone doing today? In today's video, I wanted to share with you something that I grew new this year. This is my very first year of growing loofahs. I thought it would be pretty cool to have some loofahs to use for maybe Christmas gifts and things like that. I've seen people make, I think maybe loofahs with soap, and you can gift them. I know it's a natural sponge that you can use. So I want to show you I call it my back 40 garden, because it's in the back corner of my property that does not have access to water. I'm not pretending to be an expert at all with gardening. It's always trial and error. Every year, and of course you're at the mercy of Mother Nature because of the weather, but this is one of those plants I have a feeling I'm going to be growing every single year now after my experience this year. The reason is because we were in a drought. I'm sure we're not the only area that experienced the droughts. Let me just show you my garden and how the loofahs took off. There was no access to water out here, and I want to say it was close to 8 weeks that we did not have any rain at all. And then if it did rain, it was maybe 1/4 of an inch. So this was not a good year for gardening for me. I don't know about all of you, but I live in Southern Illinois in Zone 6B. I'm going to show you my loofah plant, how many I planted, where I planted it, and what it looks like today. And while I'm showing you my plants, I'm going to read to you some facts about loofahs that I personally didn't even know before I planted these plants. Some of the facts I did know, but others I did not. So it's very interesting. I know a lot of people, when they think of loofahs, they think it's some sort of a sponge like in the sea. That is not the case. It is a plant. I want to show you how well these plants did with me neglecting these plants all year. So this is what I call my back 40 garden. I know it's a mess. And when I say I neglected this garden, once the drought hit and I kind of lost control of how the plants were doing so horribly, once the plants started dying out here, I went ahead and I basically gave up on it. So I didn't come out here for weeks. But then when I came out, I saw this plant and I saw all the loofahs that were growing on here. Check it out. It looks like a really big cucumber or zucchini. And what I did is I just planted them in this area right here. I probably planted maybe, I don't know, between 6 or 12 different seeds in this location. And what they did is they grew up on this arch and grew up and around. And excuse all the weeds down here, but it grew up and around and all the way down this fencing. While I'm showing you all this, I'm going to give you a few facts about loofahs. So the information I'm about to share is from an article that I found online, and it looks like it is from Plantish, and this is what they have to say about loofahs. Loofahs are becoming a must-have in the kitchen and bathroom nowadays. With the rising demand, you probably wonder, what are they, where they come from, and what's so good about them. They share 10 fun facts about loofahs that will make you see this co-friendly product as a new light. Number 1, plant-based. The loofah sponge comes from a plant commonly known as the sponge gourd or an Egyptian cucumber. The sponge gourd can be grown up to 30 centimeters long. Native to South and Southeast Asia, the annual plant thrives in hot summer temperatures, requires lots of sun, water, and well-drained soil. Well, let me tell you, I as a witness, I did not water this, so these are my comments, of course. They seem to be very drought tolerant, regardless of what this what this article says. And well-drained soil. It bears small yellow flowers that grow into long cucumber-like fruit. Number 2, it's edible. Apart from being made into a sponge, did you know that loofahs can be eaten too? Young loofahs can be eaten raw or cooked like summer squash. Anything under 4 inches, which is 10 centimeters, doesn't need to be peeled. However, from 4 to 6 inches, which is around 10 to 15 centimeters, you may peel it as the skin can be bitter. Additionally, the small yellow flower on the plant can also be eaten as you would squash blossoms. Loofahs contain various minerals, vitamins, and nutrients. It's an excellent source of vitamin A and B, carbohydrates, manganese, potassium, and much more. Number 3, medicinal. The loofah plant has many medicinal uses. Research shows it serves as an anti-inflammatory agent and has antiviral properties. Intaking loofahs by mouth helps treat and prevent colds. It is also used for nasal swelling and sinus problems. Some use it for arthritis, muscle, and chest pain. In other cases, women use loofahs to restore irregular menstrual periods, and nursing mothers use them to increase milk flow. Number 4, naturally made. Loofahs are a popular eco-friendly, non-plastic product that's used for cleaning and exfoliating skin. It's achieved by drying the whole mature fruit. The process begins when the mature fruit is harvested and dried. After they are soaked in water, peeled and de-seeded. Dried once again, sliced and cut into desired shapes and sizes, they are sold as sponges. Number 5, vegan. Since no animal product is involved in the manufacturing process of loofahs, they are vegan. If you're considering going plant-based and vegan, switching to a loofah product is an easy way to eliminate an animal product from your life. Number 6, plastic-free. Traditional loofahs are made from synthetic material like plastic that are gathered into looped mesh sections to form them into the fluffy balls that you see. Since loofah sponges are purely made from the gourd, it is a perfect eco-friendly alternative. Number 7, biodegradable and compostable. Since it's an all-natural product, the loofah sponge is 100% biodegradable and compostable. If you believe that your sponge or brush is getting dirty or old, you can easily toss them right into your backyard compost bin to generate compost that you can use as soil. Otherwise, you can rinse after each use, making sure all the soap is gone, and let it dry completely in between uses. If it starts to produce an odor, you can sanitize it by boiling it in water. Number 8, renewable resources. Traditional bath poofs or shower poofs are outdated, with most of them getting tossed after a short useful life and then sitting in the landfill for years beyond that. Many plastic products also end up in our water streams as microfibers from the plastic can leak down our shower drains. With loofahs, you can replant them annually from seed and in a couple of months be able to harvest another set, making it such an easy resource. Number 9, multifunctional. While most use loofah sponges as a shower pad or bath poof to clean and exfoliate the skin, you can also use them in the kitchen to wash dishes and scrub the walls and floors. The plant's rough fibers can clean tough dirt, making it one more reason why you no longer need a plastic sponge. Number 10, easy to care. A loofah's fibrous network and a bathroom's moist environment, it's a breeding ground for microbes. After each use, it's best to completely dry it in a cool area, boiling it in water to kill bacteria and place away from high heat or flames. So as a summary, they're vegan, plant-based, biodegradable, compostable, and easy to care for. It can be used for all sorts of things, from washing your dishes to exfoliating your skin to cleaning your floors and walls. Loofahs are truly a great eco-friendly alternative to traditional plastic sponges. So that is the article that I found. I've been watching videos. So from what I understand, you leave the loofahs on, and then once they start turning like maybe a yellow or a brown, I'm going to go ahead and harvest it. If you want to continue following me on this journey, be sure you subscribe so you can catch future videos on how I harvest and what I plan on doing with them. And those of you who have experience with growing loofahs, by all means, you can share your experience down below. Not only might it help me, but it could help anybody else who might be viewing this video. Let me know what you do with your loofahs because this year, even though I completely neglected the plant, I do plan on doing several things with it, not only using it as a sponge, like a natural sponge, but also possibly making other things with it for me and obviously for Christmas gifts and things of that nature. And if this proves to be successful, I do plan on growing this year after year, because God knows in that back 40 garden, since I don't have any type of an irrigation system on this garden, this is going to be a great plant to continue to plant. But next year, whenever I plant these, now that I know that you can actually eat the young tender plants, we will probably try to find some recipes and cook with loofahs, in addition to letting some of the loofahs stay on the plant and continue to grow and dry out on the vine so that I can use them for natural sponges. All right, so this video obviously is to be continued. Oh, and if you're wondering, we are currently in September. I think today is, I want to say today is September 27th. It's a Saturday. And let's see how much longer it takes before these guys go ahead and dry out. If you've been following me on my chicken journey of my bougie chickens, just to give you an update, I think I might have a rooster in this batch, which that's a completely different story. When I ordered these chicks, I ordered all hens except one, but I am 99% certain that a rooster already died by a snake. If you didn't catch that video in that story, if I can catch the actual crowing of the baby roo, I will. It is actually hilarious. We were sitting out here and we heard Jules crow, but then we heard this like new baby crow. It was a very inexperienced crow, so that tells me one of the babies probably is a rooster. Not unless, can females crow? I don't know. I haven't had that experience, but if you've had that experience where like there was a hen that actually was crowing, let me know those experience. I would be curious to hear if anyone else out there has had female hens that did any crowing. I think I may have seen it on some of these pages that I follow, but I haven't had that experience yet. But to be continued with the loofahs and the chickens. Thank you for watching, and the rest of this is to be continued. I appreciate your time if you are still with me, and until next time, thank you for watching.